it was a crazy one because I was showing Joe the other week where I grew up and stuff, and there was a little church that I used to walk past, and it had a little karate club in there, and every morning I used to walk to school on the way back, and I'd stop in. I must have been like 6, 7, so I knew that I loved, and if there was something on TV, I was like, rewind, like I'd watch it like 3, 4 times, and I just loved anything with fighting in there. And there was this karate club anyway, as you know, growing up, and I could hear him going and I just I want to go in there, so I'd sit in there every most nights. I'd go and sit in there and just watch him. Pardon? Just watch him, not even like. And one of the trainers, he was so lovely. He'd let me like sit down on the seat and just watch. And I'd sit there for 5 minutes. Obviously, I had curfew as well, so I had to be home at a certain time.
It was like a daily thing you used to do.
Yeah, so it was like my thing. It was on certain days. It was like a Tuesday and a Saturday or something like that. So I'd only see it once a week. But I'd go there. I'd be so excited to finish school and just watch. And then that's when I knew, obviously, that this was something that I really enjoyed. And then we moved areas. Must have been in like year 8 or something.
Do you remember what the club was called?
The first club that I went to was called Castle Martial Arts.
Okay, yeah.
And it was the only one local to us at the point, and I was just like pestering Mum. I was like, Mum,
please take me there.
Please, like every day I'd be like pestering. I was like, Mum, please, I really want to go.
That's talking to the white police.
Yeah, yeah, that's alright. I was like, I really want to go, and then after like every day, every minute, she was like, you know what, you should do it. Yeah, I'll just take you. And I did my first session there. It was like we had like a first free trial session, and I just you just know when you know. Do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, this is. I give it.
What was it that you liked about it? Was it just?
I would just I just felt like that's where I belonged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everywhere, you know, growing up in school or anything that I did, any family events, I always felt a bit out of place.
Yeah.
Quite in my own little shell. But when I was there, I just felt I was still that person, but I just knew that this is where I felt alive. I could express myself.
Yeah.
And then as time went by, one of Sheffield's greatest coaches now, you probably know Dale.
Yeah.
He opened his own gym, and then I must have been with Castle for like 10 years. Got like my black belt and stuff, and then at this point I was a bit older as well. And
did you compete when you were?
No, so it wasn't a competing gym. It was just like they just taught martial arts.
Right, you just enjoyed the training.
Yeah. But it was quite a hybrid gym. It wasn't. They didn't like people competing and stuff like that. So that's when I felt a bit stuck, where I was like, because it was a mixed martial arts gym, so we were learning a lot of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It was quite highly jiu-jitsu influenced, but they didn't you know, take on much of the stand-up side of it. And every time we did stand-up, I was just like, yeah, so like this is what I want to do. Yeah. And then obviously Dale opened his new gym.
So how long have you been? How old were you when you started to go to Dale's gym?
So I was a bit older back then. I was about 16, 17. So that's when everything that from kickboxing started from scratch.
Yeah.
I had to learn all the basics again, because you know when we were at Castle, we had to learn the syllabus, and it wasn't for fighting. It was more just like technique through shadow boxing and stuff like that. And then obviously when I started with Dale, we started everything, actually hitting pads and doing things as competitors rather than just you know, grading for syllabus and stuff. And I had no desire at this point of competing. There was not an ounce of me that I ever thought, I'll be in the ring, or that's not what, you know, even when I started, I didn't think I would compete.
You came from a whole different philosophy now.
Yeah. I wanted to be in this, you know, I just wanted to hit stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's what I knew. But then we started getting introduced into the fight scene, and lots of other people from the gym were competing, and still at this point I was like, oh no, like I had a massive confidence barrier where I was like, this is not for me, and I could see other people, you know, going out there and doing it, and
was it just the the actual thought of getting hit and hitting people that put you off, or was it something else?
There was naturally like there was a massive confidence barrier as well. Where I was like I didn't feel like I belonged. I belonged in there, and organically, I'm a Muslim girl. I was like, oh my god, if I went home and be like, Mum, I want to compete, and that means I'm going to be in a crowd of people. Like that conversation, I was at 17 years old. I was not ready for. Do you know what I mean? So.
You just thought the easy option was
just to say, just to watch everyone else have a go. I didn't have any plans on mentioning this, but the first time where I actually was like, I think I want to do this. You don't have any idea, but I was watching you and Joe compete for the amateur fight.
Nice.
And it was the first ever show I'd ever been to.
That was a good show.
It was honestly, I'll never forget that show. It was there were some great fights on that day as well. Obviously you and Joe at the time, who had no idea.
You know who Joe was.
Yeah, or yourself, do you know what I mean? And I'd been watching like stuff on social media. I just got social media and I was excited to watch the fight show. And I think we had a good friend of mine who was competing on that show as well. So I went to support her.
What was it?
Eve Holland.
Okay, yeah.
So
she was fighting.
Yeah, she was fighting and she absolutely smashed it that day.
Nice.
So I went to go and support her, and I remember I had a curfew that night. I had to go back, and then again I broke the rules, and I was like, I'm gonna watch these guys compete. And I saw you two fight, and I was just like, I remember like people talking to me, and I was just like, wow, like this is amazing. Like this is so amazing. Like two different styles.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I had no idea. That's really nice.
It is, honestly.
Because I used to see you around the shows all the time, but I don't actually remember or know when you started fighting. I just kind of just knew you fought.
Yeah.
So that must have been like a long time ago.
Yeah.
So the first fight you had, was it a Muay Thai fight or was it kickboxing?
It was K1.
K1
so I started off through the K1 scenes and then slowly established.
And how old were you when you had your first fight?
So I was 17.
Okay.
So a little bit later than what I would have, but as well I'm glad I did it then as well. So again, so watch you guys fight, and I was just like all night. I must have just been buzzing after watching that, because it was just you had the crowd going, and the crowd was just, like they absolutely loved watching you guys fight. And I just went home and I saw my friend just absolutely tear it, and then I came back the next day and I said to my trainer, I was like, I think I want to have a go.
Nice. And
then I had my first fight on AFK, which was a really good fight. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was Joe McGovern had a fight show.
Did you have any interclubs with you?
No, nothing.
You went straight
like
to a straight fight?
Yeah.
An exhibition?
No, which looking back on it, I think I wish I did a bit more, interclubs and.
Did you get into like a lot of sparring before? Because it's a whole different skill to like know how to hit pads from sparring.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously when you're in the gym, it's different to when you're in the ring. It's a completely different animal.
How did you feel that first day? Because I remember when I had my first fight, like even on the night before, I was so excited. I was just excited about fighting until it was on the way to the fight.
Yeah.
I started to like feel this foreign feeling of being super, super nervous, like I've never felt before.
Yeah.
And I went into the changing rooms and I'm seeing all these guys like warming up, making sounds. And
I know.
This is way harder than I thought.
Yeah.
Did you have that feeling?
Definitely. I was so excited. Obviously, I was like, oh my god, it's happening! Like it's my time. And I must have had like 3 different opponents at the time.
Oh, that's really
good. So that was like first fight, like change of opponents, and I was fighting this person and this person, and then finally I had an opponent who took the fight on like 2 days' notice, which I still to this day I was so thankful for. And I was so excited, until I felt quite nervous the day before, but I was excited. We got to the venue, and then I was having my hair braided and stuff, and then I was like, oh my god, like this is happening. But on the first fight, I was just like, I didn't feel, I were not, you know, I were nervous, but it were good nerves. But
you were more excited.
yeah, I was more excited than anything. I was just excited, you know, my family was there, you know, my team was there, everybody came, you know, I was like the second person from the gym to fight, and this was like, I was like, oh my God, like I'm literally representing my gym tonight.
Were the family excited about it?
My family was excited as well for me, you know, they were super supportive, yeah, which was really exciting. I remember seeing my mum on the first row, like screaming for me, and that was just like such a proud moment, because obviously she supported me during my time when I first started kickboxing, even though it was hard for her.
To see you actually do it, that must have been a proud moment for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't help but think I wanted to do that for my mum. You know, like I couldn't help, because my mum brought us up, you know, as a single parent as well. So everything that I wanted to do was to make my mum proud. And from having my first fight till when I first started at Castle, I spent a lot of my younger days like doing newspaper rounds and like doing like hustling in between, like finding little ways where I could try and pay for my training, because it was you know, it's not a cheap, you know, it's not cheap, because I wanted shin pads and I wanted gloves, and I worked every morning. I woke up and I did newspaper rounds 7 days a week, and it was like every morning I woke up at 6 o'clock, I was like, I'm doing this for that, and to help my mum out so she don't have to fork out, you know,
and
so much money.
At the same time as well. Is that the times that you used to train as well?
Yeah, so at the moment, this was before I competed. When I used to do my newspaper, and I used to come train in the evening. I'd go to school, come back, eat something, help my mum out, and then go straight away to the gym. So it was just like every day for the.
See, it's really nice for me, like, to hear you talk about this, because a lot of people just see a fight and they don't know the type of story they have.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Because the fact that you had to wake up 6 in the morning, do a job, go to school, and then still want to train and compete, like that is dedication, and you've learned that super early.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that most people go through life not learning that type of dedication in order to achieve something. So the fact that you come from this girl who didn't even have the confidence to think that I could even like do this, to actually doing it and then fighting pro, like that journey in itself, and that's just that transition.
Oh, thank you so much.
Is super like is unique. Not many people feel that. So after that first fight, I'm assuming, did you win that first fight?
Yeah. Nice. You know, I absolutely. There were no technique or anything. You know, the first fight, you don't think of anything. I just wanted to plow through my opponent. And that's exactly what I did. But the one thing I remember thinking was, in the first fight, I got into round one and I was like, absolutely like tired. I was like, oh my God, like this is so different. And I was like using every energy, like every ounce of my energy to try and, because my mum was there, my trainer was there, and obviously I wanted to make them proud. But I was like, oh my God, I've got another 2 rounds of this, and this was my first fight, and I thought it was hard. Like I was like, oh my God, like it was harder than what I thought. I got through it, but I was like, oh my God, do you know what I mean? Like
I've got it definitely.
Definitely, and I thought that was hard at the time.
So when you went through that, did you go back and think, yeah, I want to do this again?
Oh yeah, definitely. I came back the next day, like I was buzzing, you know, I was excited. I was like, oh my God, like there's this new confidence that I was just, you know, this quiet girl, you know, no one even knew who I was at school, and then here I am, and like everybody was shouting my name, and this was, you know, it was awesome, you know, it was such a great feeling to be seen, and I could do that through kickboxing. Like I felt like I could express myself. I was, you know, people knew me for not just Hadiqa, you know, curled up in a corner. I was known. I had a little name for myself. And I wanted to go again. I was just like, I wanted that feeling again. So straight away I came the next day. I was training, and I was like, I was like busting out push-ups. While I was busting out push-ups, I was like, I want to go again.
Did you wait long enough until your second fight, or was it like
straight away? Yeah. But again, I kept having pull-outs and stuff. So it took longer than what I wanted it to be. But you know, in your amateur days.
Do you remember what weight you were fighting at?
Yeah, I was fighting, so my first couple of fights I was fighting at like 52, 53.
That must have been difficult to match.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Especially at that level, it was hard to. It was hard with obviously
Did you
being so small.
started off with fighting with shin pads and eventually took the pads off?
Yeah, so I only had 3 fights with shin pads on, and then I think it just the way it happened, my shin pads came off quite quick. Which
Sometimes an opportunity comes and you're like, you have to take the shin pads off.
Yeah. But when I was game, you know, in my beginning, like I was so game, I was like, I would do anything. And because it was so hard to get fights, this one came out without shin pads, and I was like, hell yeah, I want to have a go. And I think I must have had another fight. I think I lost my 3rd fight at this point, and this was without the shin pads.
Oh, that the first one without shin pads?
Yeah, so the first 2 were without shin pads.
How did you find the first one? Because it's a whole different type of game when you take the shin pads off.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're way more cautious with your kicks. You're way more cautious with like not getting hit in the head without shin pads. So how did you find the first professional fight again?
Yeah. So it was a K1 fight. It was a semi-pro, and it was a rematch. Actually, so I had 3 fights without shin pads, and then the one that I'd lost, I came back and it was without shin pads. And I did a bit of we did some training in between, so like I did a bit of behind the closed doors, a bit of non-shin pad sparring, so I could get used to it, which was tough. This was like it started leveling up quite quick. Like I went from having like 3 shin padded fights to overnight like sparring with.
That's
like
very fast. That's you'd want to. You'd assume most people would get at least like 10, 12 before they do it. Just because sometimes people at that level without shin pads, they just been doing it since they were juniors and they've fought for so long. So by the time they're taking the shin pads off, they're already way more experienced than you. Even though it might say first pro fight, but they would have had like loads of years of experience as a junior, as an amateur. And then there's you with 3 fights.
I know.
I want to fight with that shit.
But at the time, obviously, I was excited. It was exciting energy and stuff. But looking back on it, obviously having the shin pads on a bit longer would have been the best decision. But and again, everything, a red light is sometimes a green light, because I wouldn't have got into professional fighting as soon as I did if I didn't take them shin pads off as quick as I did as well. But going back to the feeling of having no shin pads, even though I did a bit of behind the closed doors sparring with quite experienced girls as well, like I was 18 yet, so my body had not grown, and I was sparring with another female fighter who was quite well known in the scenes, who was, I think she was I can't say, but I think she was in her 30s at the time, so she was dense as well. Experienced and dense, and I was like, wow. And I was just like, I was super banged up, but I absolutely loved it, and I was like, okay, this is me. I'm enjoying this. And then I had my first non-shin padded fight, and I remember just having a little moment in my first round where I checked a kick, and I was like, ooh. I was like, ooh, this is different. It wasn't like a shin pad, like, you know, like when you feel it with the shin pad. And I was like, oh my god.
Especially when they're going at it like 100%, because even if you spar without shin pads, I mean, it's not a good idea to do that. But like sometimes you could play around with just having your shin pads off. No one goes 100% just smacking, aiming for your leg, and you're having to block that with your shin or your knees and stuff. So it's a different ballgame. I've had times where I checked a really good leg kick, and I've checked it really well. As soon as I put my foot down, it's like that shooting pain. That's probably not worth checking. I should just take it.
It is. It's definitely. And definitely like the first, you might have found this as well, when like your first non-shin padded fight, you were a bit more, power's not 100% there, because you're watching, right, I'm aiming for the body, or I'm aiming for the leg, and everything was too textbook as well. My first nick shot, because I wanted to impress, you know. I wanted the pictures to look that textbook perfect. I wanted those Instagram pictures to look awesome. Do you know what I mean? I wanted that picture. I'd lost that fight, but it was such a great experience.
Did you fight someone that was was more experienced than you?
It was the girl was quite experienced, and she was quite tall as well. Like there's a picture of me where I'm here and she was up here. But still, I was buzzing after. I was a bit gutted, obviously. I was like, I give it my everything, and it wasn't, and I think that was the first time I felt that first loss sort of defeat where I was like, oh my god.
Did it
like,
take you a while to like get over it?
Yeah, definitely. I was really like, I was super heartbroken after that one. That was when I felt like my first defeat. Like I was like,
you can't stay for that.
Yeah, I went home. It was a long trip home as well, and I was just like, I should have done this, and I should have done that, and I should have done this, but you know, you can't take back time.
Yeah. Was their shins and legs all banged up?
Yeah, they weren't as banged up, but they were, because I were very careful, and I think I were being too cute. I were more worried about how I looked than fighting.
Yes.
So I came out the fight. I was no bruises, no like nothing major. But
so that's I think what happens to a lot of young fighters when they have their first proper fight. At least they think they worry too much about the looking good in terms of the performance side rather than just winning, sticking to basics.
Yeah.
But there comes a time, you know, when you fight and train for so long, when you merge those two together. So now you're a performer, but you're also a fighter.
Yeah.
So when you fight, it's good to watch.
Yeah.
And when you get that, that's what just takes you up to another level.
Yeah.
And being able to look good and still fight really well, like Israel Adesanya. Like he's just a savage.
Yeah.
He's a performer.
Yeah.
He's a savage.
He's a savage at the same time. Yeah.
And that I found when I had my first few fights, I felt like I was there, but I wasn't really there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to. It's a bit of a chaos. You have like, you're looking at the crowd, you're looking at your opponent, the trainers, you're looking at your own trainers, you got all these thoughts in your head, everything just seems like a blur.
Yeah.
And then as you fight more, it's almost like your blurred vision comes together and now you're seeing a lot more clearer.
Yeah.
So you're able to land better shots, you're able to be more effective in the fight, and that just comes with experience. So when you're young and you're just getting into the fight game, I don't think it's so much about winning, it's about just getting in there and feeling.
Definitely,
because you need it.
Yeah.
You can't teach that, you need to be in there.
Yeah.
So how many fights have you had in total? If you
I think it was 16
fights.
16 fights, yeah.
And only 3 with shin pads.
So yeah, 3 with shin pads. And I was so lucky to have the opportunity I went abroad for 2 years. I finished university and I was like, right, I think I want to have a break. I wanted to do something a bit daring and just do something different.
Did you train while you were still at uni?
Yeah, so I was competing then as well.
You stayed in Sheffield?
Yeah, while I was still in Sheffield. I was still fighting K1 at the time, so I think I had about 7 K1 fights before I made the transition to Muay Thai. I enjoyed Muay Thai so much. Everything, like all my YouTube videos, Instagram, social media was all Muay Thai. And I was just like watching all the old school golden era fighters, and I was like, I love this. You know,
was there someone in particular that you watched and you were like, this is the guy that, you know, he's the guy, he's the reason why I want to do Muay Thai, just anyone that you watched and that's what you thought? Yeah,
there was when I started to know that how passionate I was about Muay Thai, there was an old school fighter called Danny Bill in the golden era. He was from Cameroon and he trained in Thailand for years, and obviously it was such a big thing for a foreigner to come to the homeland, you know what I mean? And it was, especially in the peak of Muay Thai in the 1996, you know, where it was just at its best. And he was known for he was all round such a savage. Like he could punch, he could sweep. He was known for like all these fakes, you know, like faking with the hands and faking with the kicks. And I was just like the Adesanya, you know, like he was just so mesmerizing to watch. He's got this really awesome highlight of his fight career on YouTube.
You send me a link.
Yeah,
I've not heard of this guy.
Yeah, he's wicked.
What weight was he fighting?
Around where you boys fought, around 60 kg. Yeah, so he fought Ramon Dekkers as well. Yeah, but it was Ramon Dekkers. I think he retired at this point. He was not the same Ramon Dekkers. And they fought, and I was still awesome to watch. But it was like two of my greatest heroes competing together. It was painful to watch because you kind of wish that they'd fought at their primes. and I was like, you know, I started watching like all these old school fighters, you know, like Deadly Kisser and all these guys that were just like made such big names.
How do you find going from punching to now being able to elbow as well? Because did you find that difficult?
Definitely. So it was obviously when I went to Australia, which was the Muay Thai scene is so huge there because they're next door to Thailand as well.
Yes.
I went from everything being super fast and the tempo being so high, obviously in K1 everything's just pop, 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 to like really like being a bit more flat-footed and putting my feet down and not being on my toes and taking the punching out as well. But because I've been watching it for so long, I was here for it, you know. But little did I know how hard it is to transition from K1 to Muay Thai. For me anyway, it was difficult, more difficult than what I thought.
You gotta think about the scoring system as well.
Yeah.
Because some things in Thai boxing is obviously scored way more effective than like punches in K1, for example.
Yeah.
So now you're focusing more on body kicks.
Yeah.
And
clinching as well. That was a completely different ball game,
isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's like an art in itself. And obviously when I was fighting K1, it was always hands and low kicks and like a little knee in there. And then I went from like standing and just having my hand positioned in a different place and, you know, throwing more time in the body kicks, and I was sparring people that had been doing it from a young age, that had been timing those body kicks and stuff. So I got there and you know, I had my first A-class fight there, and my trainer Don, who was brilliant to me, as soon as I got there, he was like, you know, like, let's get you going.
How long did you train out there before you had your first?
Not that long. I think I was there like a month or 2 months. I was still getting used to like complete culture shock, like new country, you know, different energy and new gym. Obviously, the first thing I did was go find myself a gym because I'm like, this is where I'll feel a little bit like
and
I
you
can
were
make
training
myself
every day.
And I trained more than I'd ever trained.
Nice.
I would because I had a bit of a break between when I'd finished uni to while I was making that transition to moving to Australia. And then as soon as I got there, obviously I was getting used to like training in 40 degrees, which obviously we're in sweatsuits in England trying to warm up our joints, and then over there I'm just like, I'm in a little vest top and a little shorts and I'm absolutely sweating. And he was like, there was a show it's quite a well-known show called Roots Rebellion, and he was like, I've put you down for a fight show, because I think I didn't have a job at that time or anything, and I was like, hell yeah, like let's just go. Like I wanted to go, you know, there was no like, oh, I should try and do this or I should think a bit like this. It was just like, just go and have fun, like, doesn't matter.
And you trust your trainer, right?
Definitely. And Don, he literally spent every day like working on us, you know, like which was also quite fun. I had lots of different females to train with as well.
But they all have good level as well. Yeah,
they were all more experienced than me, bigger than me as well. So, and it was nice. That was different, I remember researching the gym as well and saying I kind of wanted to be around women as well.
Now you're like a sponge amongst all these people who are better than you, just soaking everything, and then and that's what just takes you to the other level. You need to be training with people who are better than you.
Yeah.
Because you got, you know.
Definitely.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So did you spar a lot out there with these people and had a moment where you felt, I felt like I'm way better than I was before? So did you have some sort of, did that play a lot in your confidence, knowing that you're around a team of killers now in a whole different country and you're doing this basically full time?
Yes, definitely. It was different because I kept doing what I do best, and it was a bit more slowing down, and the sparring was different, you know, and it was different training. I was training Muay Thai, I wasn't training K1, so I was around, like I said, like I was with people that were experienced, and I was in a gym full of champions, and it was nice to be around, and I felt like I was improving every day, you know. So yeah, I ended up having my first fight there against I fought at 50 kg over there, so I came down a little bit more.
It's all the sweating.
Yeah. I came there and I just kept getting smaller and smaller. And then I thought at the time she was like Oz ranked number 2. which was yeah.
Straight away from number 2 spot.
Yeah.
If
So
I'm
I'm
gonna
like,
go
yeah.
for it, I'm gonna go for it
Yeah.
all the way.
I think I just kind of got a bit resilient to like getting thrown in the deep end.
Yeah.
And I absolutely smashed it. And it was such a crazy experience because one, I was fighting Muay Thai. I had a new team right there. You know, I've only just got to the country. I was fighting, you know, I was number 2 ranked at 50 kg, so there was like all this, but it was exciting. I was excited, you know, I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, I get to do this. And it was,
Was it a big event?
yeah, it was a Roots Rebellion, which was quite a big show. And it was an outside venue as well, so like you could literally, like, it was 40 degrees the day I was fighting, and I was fighting outside. Like, how awesome was this? And it was the first time I heard the Thai music.
I think I remember you posting some pictures from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
It was
nice. Was it good? So you won that fight? You smashed it?
Yeah, I absolutely dominated it, and I just remember feeling so awesome.
Yeah. And that was the only fight you had out there, or did you have some more?
Yeah, so this was my first A-class fight, and then I had 5 more after that.
Wow, out in Australia?
Yeah,
Nice.
so all A-class, which was good fun, like full contact elbows and knees.
Did you ever get hit with a really nasty elbow?
Yeah, so I had a moment where after my first fight, I had another fight booked straight after. I lost that one, and I had this recurrent injury of my ankle, and that played up really bad. And I remember my trainer saying, "Look, you need to pull out," and I was just like, "No," and I should have rested it because it was really bad. And I had this second fight, and my ankle was in such a mess, but I'm just there like, I was fighting more on my back foot. I was just like, as she were coming in, she was a very forward fighter, and I was teeing off her on my back foot, but I was struggling as well because that ankle was bothering me. Like,
back to your mind as well.
Yeah, and it was stressing me more than it needed to. If I forgot about it, was there, I would have still smashed it, but I was like, there was a lot going on in my head at the moment. Anyway, I lost the fight on, like, it was split decision or something. It was one of them controversial.
Decision,
yeah, it was one of them where I thought I won, and I was there like in the fight, like, yeah, I've won. But obviously it was, she had a massive crowd. I was in her backyard. Yeah, and it was happening, and I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. But I was just like, it wasn't like one of them losses where I was like, oh, okay, like, oh my god.
As long as you know you gave your all and you performed really well. Sometimes you just don't win it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a split decision like that, and she probably thought she won too. So if it was a close fight, it could go either way.
Yeah, definitely.
And a fight like that really is not a loss.
Yeah.
A loss is when you know you could have done way more than you did in training camp.
Yeah.
Or you could have done way more than you did in a fight, but you just chose not to.
Definitely.
That's something to learn from.
Yeah.
A fight like that is just you could only take positives from.
Yeah, it was a massive lesson because it was the first time I'd fought 5 rounds as well, and obviously I had my ankle that was bothering me, and again I'm for the second time fighting A-class. You know, from going to amateur, semi-pro, K1 to, you know, A-class overnight. So there was all this exciting energy going on.
So did they put you on the number 2 when you beat that number 2 ranked?
I can't 100% remember if
Because if you were there, then you had this target on your back.
Probably, yeah.
Then you only just had your first A-class fight.
Yeah. But then what was even crazier was the second girl I fought.
Yeah.
She had like over 100 fights or something, and I was doing a bit of gym shopping when I first started there, and I trained with this girl in the gym because the gym I was like, you two will be brilliant, you know, training partners because you're both the same size and stuff. And we got along like a house on fire. We were training hard, and then we ended up competing with each other. So it was just like, oh, awesome is this? Like, one day I was training with her, the next day we were like absolutely like chucking limbs. Well? Yeah, we did a bit of I can't remember if we did any sparring or not, but I ended up fighting with her anyway. But yeah, it's a small world, I guess.
Did you go to Thailand as well or fight out there?
Yeah, so I took a break after my second fight, let my ankle heal, and then I went to do my farming work for 6 months. Came back, and then I went to Thailand with the gym that I was at.
Yeah.
And then I got to compete over there, which was such a great experience.
What was that like?
It was great. It was in a proper Thai boxing stadium, and I got to do the Waikaru for the first time.
Is that where you first learned how to do the whole?
Yeah.
So did you not do it for your first 2 fights in Australia?
No. So it was just because obviously there was so much fight. We sealed the ring and then just compete, touch gloves, and go from there. Yeah. And then that was the first time I trained in a gym called Santai, and we only went there for 2 weeks. But I went with my own gym, and a few of us were competing from the gym. And then I was freaking out on the Waikaru. I couldn't get it. I was just like I was overthinking it, and I just couldn't get it. And there was an English lady there called Lisa Briley. She fights on one championship at the moment as well, and she spent like a whole hour with me just going through teaching me because the Waikaru, and it was just
that probably made you more nervous than the actual fight.
yeah, I was so much more nervous about doing the Waikaru than actually fighting.
I'm sure I'm not going the wrong way.
Yeah, am I putting the right hand on? Yeah. Am I supposed to go down twice? Yeah. But anyway, once I got there, I did the Waikaru, and I was just, I don't know, as I was doing it, I felt so relaxed, and even my trainer was like, well done on your Waikaru, you did really well.
You must have felt like at that point that part of your dream is completed because you just love Thai boxing. Now you're in Thailand.
Yeah.
Doing exactly what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't even soak it all in because it was just like, oh my god, like I'm here, like I'm actually doing the Waikaru, and I'm fighting a Thai girl. Once I did the Waikaru, I'd felt so relaxed. I was just like, all this weight had lifted off my shoulders, and I think because I knew I was in Thailand, I was fighting, doing actual Thai boxing. I was just like, I remember that fight, we were just going so slowly and methodically, and just like tit for tat, and then I think I ended up stopping her in the 3rd round, but nice. It was good fun, but it was just such a nice experience overall. I
was gonna ask, did you have any sort of rituals that you build for yourself that you did prior to the fights, or even a fight week or anything like that?
In Thailand, or just
in general, because the Waikaru really relaxed you. So I just wondered if you had something that you just had for yourself that you would do, just in the bag, just to make sure you're getting in your zone, or you're calm.
So I'd have a little chat with myself, or like a little moment where I'd obviously sit down, put my head down, and ask Allah, like, please, like, am I in my fight, and just like recite the Quran a little bit, and that would kind of like put me at ease a little bit. But
whatever's supposed to happen, that will happen.
Yeah, I guess so. And I'd feel like, okay, I'm gonna do my best, and that's all that matters. And then after I got back from Thailand, I took another very short last minute fight. During this time, I'd had a bit of a mental health breakdown after that, the second fight I'd lost. I'd put a lot of weight on. I went from like walking around always at 55 kg. I ended up putting 10 kilos on, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for someone that had always been so petite, was a big, massive jump. And I just could not. Once I came back from farming, I did what every young person does. I went to the other side of the country and just kind of had a bit of a breakthrough. I ended up putting a lot of weight on and came back. And then,
did you feel burnt out a little bit from training and fighting like that?
Yeah, definitely. I was tired, and it was the first time I had a proper weight cut as well. And I made some mistakes as well, which kind of, I wanted to eat. I just wanted to enjoy my food, and I think that last fight, even though it was a lesson, I just beat myself up. I was in a different country as well, so I went out and I just felt like I was my own worst enemy. I was just so heartbroken. I was like, oh my god, like how could I have done that? Like, I just lost to someone that I know I could have done it, even though I had the injury. But you just do it to yourself, don't you?
Just didn't give yourself the best chance to win.
Yeah. Anyway, I went in a massive hole, and then I came back and I was like, right, if I start competing, it might help me, give me a focus. But little did I know that I wasn't doing it for the right reason. At that point, I wasn't doing it because I love the sport. I was doing it because I was not to go too much into, I think I was maybe torturing myself a little bit, and I just didn't know what else to do then, because I'd been doing kickboxing from a young age and it was always there.
You're Hadiqa, you fight and this is all you do.
Yeah, this is all I do.
Because it's a fight, you don't actually do it because you want to.
Yeah, and it was just, I was doing it for the wrong reason, and I kept taking last minute fights and fighting at different weight classes that were not suited for me. I was fighting, I fought from 50 kg to 57 kg, and these girls are cutting a lot of weight just to make 57 kg, and I was walking at 57. I was just making.
It's a different level of power you have to deal with now, and strength.
And I really felt that, and I just kept doing it, and it was just it was a distraction and I wasn't competing because I love the sport, or I was forgetting what my purpose was, and I was just doing it as a distraction. And then from then I kept.
How many fights did you have at that weight? Just that.
So I fought at 57 twice, which I shouldn't have, but nobody could convince me. I was like, if there was a fight, I want to go. Like, nobody could say, look.
You just wanted to fight.
Yeah, I just wanted to fight. I needed to fight, or else I was gonna lose it. Do you know what I mean? I was gonna go home and just twiddle my fingers, or I was in a bad place. Like, I really needed that. I needed to wake up in the morning.
Was it a sense of competition that you really wanted, or was it just a sense of training for a fight, like the actual process?
Yeah, I just needed focus. I needed focus. Like, I needed to wake up in the morning knowing I was going to go for a run. Like, there was something in place for my life. Like, I was going to train in the evening. Like, that was set there, because as soon as I sat on my own, it was all or nothing. But that's when I started building a very unhealthy relationship with the sport, because it started becoming a chore. I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was mentally and physically torturing myself.
The fun is no longer there.
Yeah, and then from then I think that's when I was starting to struggle. When I was competing, I was there, but I was not there, like you said. There was just this massive fog in my head where I was just like, what am I doing? I'd have a moment where I'd be like, why am I doing this? I don't even need to be here. Like, I'm just doing this for the wrong reasons. But I'd do it, I'd lose, and then I'd go back again, and then I'd do the same thing again. And
it's not the kind of sport that you want to do that. You don't want to compete with that mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's very dangerous.
Yeah, it is. And but nobody could tell. If anyone said to me, Hadiqa, look, just calm down. But again, if you're in a different country, they don't know what you're going through, and if you can't articulate or express what's going through your mind, no one's going to know what's going through, what you're actually going through. Anyway, I just kept losing. From then till now, I've had 7 losses in a row. And I've come here today not to say, look, I'm a champion or I'm undefeated. I've come here because I'm just proud of what I've done. Like, I've had nearly a year away since my last fight, to sit here today with you and be like, this is my journey and this is what I've done.
Well, the last 2 fights I saw you do, one of them you fought somebody who was such a high level fighter already, and I think you knew that already, but and it was like a 2 weeks replacement. So when I saw you fight, was it
Hannah Brady?
She was physically very strong. She looked a lot heavier than you. She's from a very, very good gym, and from what I just know of her, it sounds like she has lots of experience. And you did what you could that night, and you held your own. Considering you fought somebody who was so experienced. Like, you went in there, you were throwing shots, you were doing what you had to do in a fight. It just so happened that she was more experienced, better, stronger, better fighter. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Definitely.
There's nothing wrong with that. I think it'll be you'd feel worse if you fought someone who you knew that you were gonna easily beat. There's nothing to gain from them.
Definitely.
And the fight after that, and the ISO, you were winning the first 2 rounds, I think, the first because you came out really aggressive. You landed some nice shots. You had way better boxing than I've seen before. That was really, really, really good to see. But I think the other girls had like a good game plan.
Yeah.
She turned up in the later rounds. She figured it out, and that's what it is. Sometimes it's a game of chess.
It is.
And when you lose by 1 round over was it 5 rounds that you did?
It was, it was 5 rounds, yeah.
When you lose by 1 round in a fight like that, it's like, what if it was 6? What if it was 7?
That's true,
Do you know what I mean? Like, you were both in it, and it was a very, very good fight. So like, although on paper it's a loss, I mean, like, is it really?
Yeah.
Like, you're doing something that most people wouldn't even want to be a part of.
Yeah.
You're facing something that most people are running away from. You came from a girl who you thought, I would never be able to do this. You had very low confidence. You were the shy one. You felt like you didn't belong to put on a performance like that I saw in your last fight. It's like there is nothing but win in there.
Yeah, definitely.
On the surface of it, there's a loss, but really, underneath all that, beneath that is a big win.
Thank you so much.
And that's the way you should. That's the way you should look at it.
Yeah.
That records are for DJs. That's what my old trainer Farad used to say all the time.
Yeah, no,
Records for DJs. And
no, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And now, like you said, I don't think you might have not seen this, but I think that was the first time in my fight career where I was struggling. I was really struggling during training camp, constantly anxious, and that was an indication that I needed the time away from the sport. And for the first time in that fight, I think I got to round 2, and I'd never quit on myself, but I was like, I remember telling my trainer, like, please throw in the towels, like, I just don't want this anymore. And the picture as well, like, when you see pictures but you don't really know only you know what's going through there.
What you think.
Yeah, and there's a picture of me just looking in the camera. But really, I'm just like I can't do it. I'm done.
Don't want to read it.
And it's I don't know if it was Misha Tate that had her fight before her retirement, and she goes back to her corner and she just keeps telling the trainers, like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I think I'm over. Like, I've done what I've won. And I think I had that moment at that time, and it was just like, as soon as I touched gloves with my opponent, it was like, I can't do it. Like, I'd gassed myself out not because I wasn't conditioned enough, or I wasn't strong enough, or I didn't have a bigger bicep than my opponent. It was just the anxiety, and I was hyperventilating of the fear of losing. I was so scared of losing, and that fear of losing had grown more and more over fights. The more I kept losing, and having this time away has made me realise that nothing was ever a loss, and it's okay. Like, like everything you said to me, I wouldn't give myself that time to just understand that.
But that's the thing, now you have the time to look at it like that, and when you do decide to come back and fight, you're going to come back with a whole different approach. And it would have been a mixture of you just doing it for so long, just burning out a little bit, and also a mixture of putting so much pressure on yourself because you've had losses after losses, and now you're like, I need to get that W. You're putting so much pressure on yourself, you're no longer enjoying this, and if you don't enjoy something, you're never going to really progress or be good at. But now that you've taken the time off from it, because just like me, like one day you wake up and you're like, I really want to fight today.
Yeah.
The next day, like, I don't want to make an impulsive decision because I know what it takes to compete at that level.
Definitely.
And if I don't have my life set up in a way where I could dedicate I could dedicate my whole time, like 100% to this, and do it properly and really enjoy it and get that hunger of wanting to compete like that. You should not add that extra pressure on yourself where you feel like you have to go back and get that W because you've done what you wanted to do, considering again what we spoke about, where you come from to where you are now.
Oh, thank you.
It's already a win. So I think if you do decide to come back, your whole mentality will be different because now it's about enjoyment.
Yeah, and I think I've really grown up in the sport as well. Like, I know exactly what I need to do. I know, you know, I always turn up. If I'm in training camp, I've always turned up on time, you know, like show up. You know, one of the biggest things that my trainer says to me, Dale, is if you want anything, show up, just show up, just show up. And honestly, that concept just follows me in everywhere in life. And you learn so much lessons, and having that time away from kickboxing, having a good year out, trying new stuff. Like I've been trying CrossFit, and I've been trying rock climbing, I've been trying all these random new hobbies.
You're just enjoying training.
Yeah, and it's just like, and I've been doing a bit of kickboxing now, and you know, I'm getting back into the gym, and it's like I'm enjoying it, and I'm doing it on my own terms. And that's where I've gone from a girl to, you know, from a young girl to a, you know, a mature woman, you know. And that's where I understand that when I do it when I'm ready, and when I feel, you know, when I feel like I'm ready to put the hard yards in.
And it's no longer about trying to prove something, you just to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that'll be fun, but just know you don't have to do it.
Yeah, well that's it. There's no pressure. Like you know, I was speaking to my partner about it, like I don't have any desire at this moment in time. I'm still focusing on healing and getting myself better, whether that's, you know, through therapy or through understanding what was the root of, you know, why was I struggling so much towards the end of my fight career then, and it was the fear of losing, and I was doing it for everyone else except for myself. Whereas now I can go in there, you know, I'm in my mid-20s now, you know, I'm in my prime. Like I'm doing this for me now, I'm doing this for Hadiqa, not Hadiqa the kickboxer, or you know, my family, or you know, trying to be this textbook perfect Muslim girl, or I'm doing this because I'm Hadiqa, like I'm doing it for me. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it makes total sense. Have you you said that you're just working on yourself and trying to, you know, get into the place that you really want to get to as like a human being, and then maybe think about competing, which is the most sensible way to really go about it. What kind of things have you been doing, if you don't mind me asking?
So I just spent this last couple of months trying different sports, evaluating what I want to actually do with my career, you know, moving forward. You know, settling down into my relationship, which has been, you know, we just got engaged a couple of months back, so that's been, thank you so much. So that's been nice to spend a bit of time with my partner as well, and just I spent a lot of time just, what can I say, like putting myself in in more healthy environments where people who want the best for me as well, like people that want to gas you up, you know, they say like bring me up all the time. And I spent a lot of time just adjusting a lot of stuff in my life, like having a better job, because that's always a big factor when you're competing. Your job is everything. You know, I spent most of my career either working in care work jobs or hospitality, you know, like quite hard labour work, and then coming from that to training every day was hard. And now I'm looking to I've recently just, you know, started a PT course and starting a job as hopefully a personal trainer, which is exciting, which is something that I'm going to be waking up every day to, you know, something that I enjoy.
But you also have the element of kickboxing and Muay Thai to bring to your clients.
So that's always something, you know, I can train whenever I want.
And I think it's important to have some sort of goal in place, just kind of reassures you will always be in the sport in some way, shape or form, because it's just such a big part of you. I don't know how you feel, but I can't see myself ever not being involved in kickboxing, like ever. I think I'll be involved forever. And you usually have a couple of choices, so you either go into the promotion side of things and you start putting on your own events and stuff like that, which I don't think I'll be able to do, because I just having to deal with loads of people. I'm an introvert at heart. I like to talk to people who I like. So being a promoter sounds a bit like too much of a hard work.
I hear it. It sounds. There's a lot. There's a lot to it in there.
But the other one is usually become a coach and have your own team of fighters. Or be like a Muay Thai or kickboxing coach. Have you had any thoughts about your future like that?
Yeah, I've having that break. I realised how much I miss the sport as well. And since I've been young, I've always been passionate about just helping and giving people. And now I'm getting a bit older, and where I'm training, we've got a lot of young people coming through, and it's just been nice to like go in there and give them a little bit of support and hold pads for them, and just do little stuff that makes because they look up to you, they see you as this Hadiqa's fought pro, like let's throw that kick as hard as can. Yeah, that's it. And it's like what's awesome is I feel that energy of them. I can feel like, okay, we're training with Hadiqa, like, and it's a nice feeling. Like a big sister, like in the gym. It's a nice feeling.
Do you go there often just to pay, like, or do you train like a couple times a week?
Yeah, so I train myself, but obviously I'll be training alongside. But there's some moments where I just want to go in there and just, where I'm not training myself, where I just go and hold pads and just try and join in with the cornering team and stuff like that. Yeah,
I mean,
so
ultimately
just being part of the sport.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Like at the end of the day,
yeah,
it's about that. That's when you get to that position where you still so in love with the sport that just being around it and seeing other people do it makes you happy.
Definitely,
it's precious.
Yeah, it is, and there's just something so beautiful about, like what you said as well. When everyone's got their own little story, and for me, I think the sport has not just given me confidence, or it's not just giving me life skill. It saved me, like. When I was in Australia, when I hit rock bottom, and knowing that I had this sport to, I had the kickboxing and the mixed martial arts community.
It's a form of therapy, isn't it?
Yeah, it was there for me, and that gave me purpose to just carry on. Like, it's all right, just keep going. Like, there's people that love you. You know what I mean? Like, no one brings you in like a kickboxing community, and having that experience of trying new stuff. Nothing resonates to like kickboxing or martial arts. It's just such a beautiful sport to be around.
If the day is going really bad, just know at the end of it you'll get to hit something.
yeah, definitely.
There's always that to look forward to, at least.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you like a couple of questions in here that I really wanted to know about.
Yeah.
So if you obviously you said that now that you go into the gym, you hold pads for the young people, and they look up to you and stuff. If you had, this sounds probably generic, but I think it'll be interesting. If you have any sort of advice for anybody, like young girls that are coming up, what would you tell them? So say if you look back and you had the opportunity to speak to your younger self, what would you tell that girl?
Listen to your gut and just go, have fun. And you might feel this as well, but whether you're winning or you're losing, people are always gonna give you some shit. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what you're doing, just do it because you want to do it. Don't do it for you, and just show up. If you want something, just show up every day. Show up.
I think that's a really good advice.
Thank you.
Because a lot of people just need to hear that.
No,
you know what I
thank
mean?
you
Because
so
there's
much.
a lot of stigma with certain activities and sports that people, especially young girls, do. And it's just really nice to see that.
Thank you so much.
A Muslim girl fought pro, and you did really well in it, and you come from this shy girl to being in Thailand, fighting tigers and other Thai fighters. That's really, really good for me. It's really refreshing, and it's nice for me to hear.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why I wanted you on.
No, thank you so much.
This is great.
I can't tell you how excited. I was so nervous to come, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story.
Anytime you're welcome. This could be your second home. So if you ever want,
thank you so much.
There's always going to be open for you. I think I've got a bit of a fun thing to do, right? That I'm going to be doing with everyone.
All right.
So it's rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Just try not
Let's
to
see how fast my brains can work.
Try not to think about it too much. But when you give an answer, we could talk about the answer a little bit, because then it'll be interesting just to find out. So if you could go to dinner with any celebrity, who would it be?
Any celebrity.
Any celebrity.
Ooh. You put me on the spot. Sadiq's. Jim Carrey.
Oh, okay, that's a good
Okay,
choice.
Jim Carrey.
I think he'll do it.
That took me long. See, I'm not. I'll overthink anything. That should have been my first instant answer.
Jim Carrey. Do you not think he'll do your heading though?
Pardon?
He'll do your heading.
Oh, but I'm just as annoying. I am so annoying. My partner will do anything to have a break from me.
I love it. Jim Carrey is a good choice. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could fight any celebrity, who would you fight?
Any celebrity who does my head in?
Hmm.
See, I like everyone.
There's gotta be someone that you see on TV and just want to punch you in the face.
Punch you in the face. Let's think of someone really massive that I want to punch in the face. Let's do The Rock.
The Rock, you know, sometimes
Find the biggest person in the room.
Sometimes I want to punch him in the face. He just works too damn hard. Like 5 a.m. doing push-ups.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you have such a great work ethic?
Right. I'm the Rock hater. He's better than Vin Diesel.
Yeah, true.
Okay, strength training or endurance?
Endurance.
I would have thought you said strength. I would have thought you would have said strength.
Yeah, actually, I am doing a bit more of strength at the moment.
Yeah.
But I always enjoy endurance somehow. Yeah, I just find strength it's taken me a bit of time to enjoy it. Like,
do you do a lot of running?
I started like going back. I was talking about when I was listening to Will's podcast. I was talking to Joe about it the other day. But when I was in the first lockdown, I spent the first 3 months just running out every day, and it was just.
You loved it.
I loved it. Yeah. And it's something that I'm looking to get back into, looking to maybe do a half marathon or something next year, which I'm looking, it's just something different to do, something like a new little goal to look forward to, so which is exciting.
For sure, I mean the weather's going to get better, so running will be nicer.
Yeah, definitely, and I think I was a little bit inspired by Will's podcast as well the other day.
A lot of people messaged me saying they want to start running again.
Yeah, so. And you know what I found crazy, which I always find myself as well, just in combat sport, like, say we do a 5k run and we're just absolutely blitzing through it, and then you're like, oh, I'm so tired, and it was just nice to hear that sometimes, you know, like
it's not always about killing.
Yeah.
It's about building the energy.
And I was like, I want to do it again.
Good. That's exactly why we're doing this. That's nice to hear. So okay, this is difficult for me, especially because I was thinking about this and I was speaking to my boys yesterday actually, and I don't think we came up with an answer. I did come up with an answer, but I want to hear yours first. Workout or sunshine?
Workout or sunshine? Stylistically, probably sunshine.
For you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just exciting and fun and just like he doesn't take it too seriously.
No, he's playful.
Yeah.
He's the goat.
Yeah. Everyone knows sunshine, you know.
I said workout only because I just grew up watching workout.
Yeah.
One of the first few fights that I watched was workout versus Masato in the K1.
The K1. I mean that was that. Yeah.
I really rate him because he had to change. They basically changed the rules because workout was kneeing the shit at everyone.
Yes.
And then he had to adjust from being able to just clinch and knee people to now having to be able to properly box.
Yeah.
And he made that transition, and the next time he came back to K1 he was actually knocking people out with punches. So that to me was great. Yeah,
and it's a pretty big thing for a time back then as well to come to a sport like it is. It was always Thai or nothing, and to come to just K1 or kickboxing was a pretty cool thing to do.
We were saying last time in the gym, I don't know if you remember, we said that the whole kickboxing and Muay Thai has evolved so much. There's somewhere in between now. Like you got all these Thai fighters that know how to throw punches like the Dutch fighters used to do. And you got all these kickboxers that know how to kick like the Thai fighters. So it's finally coming.
Definitely, like it's open to so many different styles now. You've got people that just throw hands and knees, and you've got people that it's all right to walk on your back foot. It's not seen as it's not frowned upon, and it is nice to see, you know, like the sport evolving so much.
Definitely. So favorite athlete right now?
In general, or as in combat sport? It's gonna obviously have to be a combat sport athlete, but she fought last night. She's called Jackie Bhutan. she fights Muay Thai, but she's quite a heavy K1 style. Known for good hands, and she's the same age as myself, but she's just an absolute killer.
Where's she from?
I think she's American. I couldn't 100% tell you.
Yeah.
But she's had the same coach from the beginning, and they've just implemented, you know, the style, and she fought a Thai girl, quite a tall Thai girl last night.
Was it for the belt?
No, it wasn't for a belt. She fights around the same weight class around me as well. She fought a really Thai girl with a nice style and just absolutely mullered her with hands, like fast hands, and it was just so nice to see two different styles come together.
Well, I'm going to be watching the highlights because it was on last night.
Definitely watch that, yeah.
Okay, elbows or knees?
Knees.
Oh,
definitely.
that's surprising.
Yeah.
I thought you said elbows. Okay, what's your walkout song?
What's my walkout song? It's changed a lot. Like I like to listen to something that's not too serious, but I like Toots and I. Toots and I. I'm trying to remember the actual name of it.
Maybe if I hear it, like I recognize.
Yeah.
Is that
but
the
Google
song?
it if you get it. It's just like a old school jazzy sort of song, and it gets me going, and I just kind of want to like
use it for a lot?
I've had it for the last like 5 fights. Yeah.
You just know that's the one.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one that keeps me going.
The last movie you watched?
The last movie we watched. We watched Star Wars.
Which one?
We watched the third one. Actually, not the third one, the fourth one. So we watched the first 2, which were in the early 2000s.
Are you doing it like a marathon?
Yeah, and then we watched.
Joe would do that, right?
Joe's made me watch it. Yeah, made me watch it, and secretly, I'm absolutely really enjoying it. And then we've gone back now, so we've
secretly enjoying, like, Joe, can you change this?
I'm telling all my friends that we've been watching Star Wars, but really, I'm just like,
you wish
I
you
like
were the
this
Jedi,
character.
right?
Like, yeah, I'm right. I'm like, Obi-Wan who?
Nice. Well, it's no longer a secret, so he's gonna make you watch all of them twice.
He's reminding me of it every weekend.
You've answered this already, so I'm gonna change the question.
Okay.
Your favorite movie of all time?
My favourite movie of all time, Back to the Future.
Which one?
First one.
First one.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just, I've just always like, I'm obsessed over it. I watched it like 50 billion times.
That's a good choice.
It's my little comfort movie.
That's nice. I mean, it's just a classic. Every time it's on, it's hard to change the TV.
Yeah. What's your favourite movie? Just being nosy.
I have quite a few, but I think probably either Lord of the Rings, all of them, or Fight Club.
Oh, okay.
Fight Club.
Good shout.
Yeah, I like Fight Club a lot. I really like the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet one.
Oh,
like when I was in school, I used to love that
secretly.
Hadiqa, I think I've asked everything I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
It's been really, really nice to speak to you, and I think this is going to be one of the many times we're going to do this.
Oh, thank you so much.
I want to have you back at some point, and we'll talk some more, because there's lots of things I think we should speak about.
Yeah.
It was really nice, and I think people will really enjoy hearing your story, and I think it will be really inspiring to many people.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. I think I was a bit nervous today, but thank you for sharing that.
I mean, you're kicking people in the head without shin pads. This is nothing, right?
This is harder, I think.